Khabib Nurmagomedov's journey into the world of mixed martial arts wasn't one that began with an interest in fame or fortune. Instead, it began in the remote mountains of Dagestan, a land where the harsh terrain shaped warriors as much as the culture itself. From an early age, Khabib was molded by his father, Abdulmanap, a seasoned coach who instilled in him the values of discipline, perseverance, and mental toughness. His childhood was not unlike many others in the region. Surrounded by rugged landscapes, the young Khabib found his escape in wrestling, and soon his raw talent became undeniable. Yet, it wasn't until he entered the professional MMA world that the world started to take notice. Khabib's undefeated record was built on the back of his unparalleled ground game, suffocating pressure, and incredible ability to control every aspect of a fight. Khabib was more than just a fighter. He was an enigma. With every fight, he dismantled opponents with a methodical precision that seemed both effortless and devastating. As the years passed, his following grew, and so did the pressure to remain undefeated. His move to the UFC, the premier MMA organization in the world, marked the beginning of the true test of his legacy. But before the glitz and glamour of UFC stardom, there were many obstacles to overcome. Khabib's journey through the UFC wasn't just about raw talent. It was about proving he could adapt, refine his skills, and withstand the toughest challenges thrown his way. Abel Trujillo, the power-packed underdog. Abel Trujillo's rise through MMA wasn't one of careful planning or meticulous strategy. Rather, it was one born from sheer raw power, relentless will, and the desire to prove that size and strength could overpower any technique. Born in Colorado, Trujillo's wrestling background served as a foundation, but it was his ability to knock out opponents with brutal strikes that made him a household name in the UFC's lightweight division. A bit of a wild card in the sport, Trujillo's heavy hands were his primary weapon, but he also possessed an unpredictable style that made him dangerous. Whether he was trading punches in the middle of the octagon or scrambling for dominant positions on the ground, Trujillo fought with a ferocity that left many wondering how to neutralize his explosive offensive style. Trujillo's history in the UFC had been a mix of highlight reel knockouts and head-scratching losses. He had faced some of the top fighters in the world, and while his power was undeniable, his consistency was often in question. But for Trujillo, the fight against Khabib Nurmagomedov was an opportunity, a chance to make a statement, to defeat the man many considered unstoppable, and to prove he could stand among the best in the world. The clash between Khabib's methodical, relentless style and Trujillo's explosive knockout power was one that caught the imagination of fans worldwide. Khabib had yet to lose a single fight, and Trujillo, despite his setbacks, was a fighter who could never be underestimated. The stage was set. The build-up, UFC 160, and the weight of expectation. UFC 160 was fast approaching. The fight between Khabib and Trujillo wasn't just another fight card. It was a statement. For Khabib, this was another step on his way to the top of the UFC's lightweight division. For Trujillo, it was a do-or-die moment to establish his place in the organization. As the event loomed, there was a palpable sense of anticipation. The crowd knew that Khabib, with his flawless record and unstoppable ground game, was a force to be reckoned with. But Trujillo had power, and as history has shown, one punch can change everything. The weeks leading up to the fight saw both fighters making their final preparations. Khabib's camp was meticulously planned, with his father and coach Abdulmanap overseeing every detail. Khabib wasn't the type to make bold predictions or engage in trash talk. Instead, he stayed focused on his training, knowing that victory would come through hard work and strategy. On the other hand, Trujillo's camp was all about unleashing his full potential. Trujillo knew that Khabib's grappling was a serious threat, so he worked tirelessly on his takedown defense, hoping to keep the fight standing where he had the advantage. Every punch he threw was meant to carry the weight of a potential knockout, and his training reflected that. The Clash, UFC 160, May 25, 2013. The night of UFC 160 arrived, and the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas was filled to the brim with eager fans, all waiting for a spectacle. Khabib Nurmagomedov, dressed in his usual simple gear, looked stoic as he entered the octagon, his eyes focused and determined. Abel Trujillo, on the other hand, was full of energy, his muscles rippling as he stared across at his opponent, ready to strike. From the moment the bell rang, Khabib's dominance was evident. He closed the distance immediately, not allowing Trujillo to create any space. Trujillo tried to keep the fight at range, hoping to land one of his famous punches, but Khabib's relentless pressure forced him to abandon that strategy quickly. Round 1 was a classic example of Khabib's grappling dominance. Every time Trujillo attempted to break free or land a strike, Khabib was there, moving forward, cutting off the cage, and delivering a well-timed takedown. Once on the ground, Khabib controlled Trujillo with a suffocating top game. It was clear that Trujillo was struggling to keep up with Khabib's pace. Round 2 saw more of the same, with Khabib relentlessly pressing forward. Trujillo, while powerful, could not create any meaningful offense. Khabib seemed to anticipate every move, never allowing Trujillo to get into his rhythm. The crowd could feel the frustration growing in Trujillo as he realized that every time he got back to his feet, Khabib was there, waiting to take him down again. By round 3, it was clear that Khabib had the fight well in hand. Trujillo's energy was starting to wane, and while he continued to throw heavy punches in an attempt to land a knockout blow, Khabib's smothering pressure and control kept him from landing anything of significance. The round ended with Khabib maintaining his dominance, and the judge's decision was inevitable. As the fight came to a close, Khabib's hand was raised in victory, earning another win in his undefeated streak. Trujillo, while defeated, had shown his heart, refusing to go down without a fight. For Khabib, it was another step toward his ultimate goal, but the road ahead was still filled with obstacles. Aftermath and reflections. In the hours that followed, the fight was analyzed from every angle. For Khabib, the victory was another demonstration of his unrelenting style, a reminder to the world that his grappling was unmatched. His fans celebrated his win, knowing that the journey to a title shot was becoming ever more real. The world of MMA was starting to take notice. This was a fighter who was destined for greatness. For Trujillo, the loss was a setback, but not the end. He would return to the drawing board, knowing that the fight with Khabib was one of the toughest of his career. He had survived, but the relentless pace and pressure of Khabib were simply too much. Final chapter: legacy and the road ahead. As Khabib continued his rise through the UFC ranks, defeating every opponent put before him, his legacy became clear. The fight with Abel Trujillo was but a chapter in the larger story of Khabib's journey. He would go on to claim the UFC lightweight championship and retire undefeated. But it was fights like these that shaped him into the unstoppable force he became. Abel Trujillo's career, too, carried on, though his path was filled with ups and downs. Yet, his fight with Khabib remained one of the defining moments of his career, a reminder that in MMA, no fighter is ever truly out of the game. The story of Khabib Nurmagomedov vs. Abel Trujillo wasn't just a fight, it was a testament to the power of discipline, preparation, and the unyielding desire to be the best. It was a clash of styles, a battle of wills, and in the end, it was Khabib's relentless pursuit of victory that shone through, earning him yet another win in his legendary undefeated career.